Now, it's time to take a look at the weekend's headlines. Now, tomorrow we'll see, of course, one of the biggest send-offs of the century take place in LA as hundreds of thousands of fans gather to pay their final respects to Michael Jackson. All weekend, there's been lots of speculation as to what the funeral will comprise, and reports that city officials in Los Angeles have dissuaded the Jackson family from having a cortege for Michael along the lines of the one for Princess Diana, which saw mourners lining the roads for miles to throw flowers at the passing vehicle. It's also been reported that there has been some disagreement between Michael's siblings and his mother over the tone of the funeral, with her saying that she just doesn't want the event turned into a circus. So what kind of send-off do we think he should have? Should it be a sort of a Diana-style mass mourning?
Do you know, I was a fan, and I wish he wasn't dead, because I had tickets to go and see him. But at the same time...
What a heartfelt sentiment.
No, but seriously, I really wanted to see him. But, you know, the funeral, I honestly... he's gone now. I didn't know him. I could never, ever imagine going to a funeral of anybody that I didn't know. Even if I was like a big fan or something. I mean, I didn't go and watch Diana or go up the road or anything. I just thought, you know, I didn't even feel... Well, I don't mean just go up the road. She went up my road. People were throwing flowers and taking photographs after they'd already blamed the paparazzi. And, you know, I just think all that, to me, is slightly... you know, nauseating and bad taste, and I'm not really interested, so I don't really. I don't care about the funeral.
I do think he would want it like that.
He was a showman.
He was a showman. You know, he loved all his adoring fans and things. So I don't think he would be dismayed at the prospect. Therefore, doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and I don't think it doesn't matter what the police want or what his family want. You know, it is going to be a media circus. There are going to be hundreds of thousands of people there, so they may as well already have that in their mindset and deal with it. You know, and I wouldn't travel over to America to see his funeral, but I will watch it. You know, because we are going to be bombarded with it on telly anyway, so I will watch it. And I don't, in some way, I know what you're saying in some ways, but in other ways, you know, you do feel like these people have been a part of your life. You know, you've got memories of when that song was out, you know, I met this person.
But it's still got the music, so you didn't know him.
It's a classic end to Michael Jackson, and fans do it. I mean, death in a very strange way is a very selfish thing, isn't it? You go for yourself.
Especially when you got tickets for the concert.
You go to be a fan as much as anything, and do it and scream and shout and cry. So, you know, it's the only way you could go.
Very loyal fans, and people will be going over, even if they haven't got a ticket to the, whatever it is, there's 160, the memorial. 9,000 people out of 160,000, apparently.
Well, next, whilst the gay pride celebrations got underway in the capital this weekend, a senior Church of England bishop called on homosexuals to repent and be changed. The Bishop of Rochester, Dr. Michael Nazir Ali, in an interview with the Sunday Telegraph said, "We welcome homosexuals, we don't want to exclude people, but we want them to repent and be changed." So is it time the Church of England made sure that these kinds of comments weren't made by its figureheads?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really. I mean, I don't agree with any of that. I understand, though, I suppose I do, that the church has got a lot of people, you know, in the church who don't agree with homosexuality, which is their right. You know, we live in a democracy. But
not the only religion either that doesn't tolerate,
you know, whatever. But we're talking about Church of England at the moment. And equally, you know, people don't like religion. It upsets me that we don't hear more tolerance coming out of the church. You know, they need as much support as they can get, really. It's unfortunate to say repent, to use this kind of language.
Like it's a choice.
But one has to understand, you know, that there are people that don't understand gay pride and perhaps don't understand why people have to march about cheering it. You know, it's just, we are a democracy, we should live in a democracy.
Well, I think it's very odd that the church would have a spokesperson who, to me, in this day and age, has such radical views. I'm not sure he speaks for the majority of the people who go to that church. I'd be very surprised about that, because I think what he's saying is tantamount to inciting prejudice. You know, and just because it's being said in the name of religion or within the confines of this is what the church believes. Well, what if the church believed that, you know, one ethnic race was superior to another? Is it okay to say that? You know what I mean? I don't think it lets you off the hook that that's your belief and therefore you can say anything you like. I don't like the fact that such a high-profile spokesperson has such radical views.
Yeah, but I'm sure they don't all have those same views as him.
Well, let's hope not.
But then anybody with a radical view is supposedly allowed to express it in this country. We hear it all the time, don't we, Jackie? We hear somebody expressing radical views. That is the point of living in a democracy.
You know, you don't have to agree with him, and you might be offended by what he says. But the fact is, at the end of the day, he has the right to say it. You know, I think he should shut up, and I think he's completely contradicting himself. You know, I think what he's saying, it doesn't even make any sense. You know, it's like, why bother? But people say offensive things all the time, and you know, most people are grown up enough just to take no notice and just let him get on with it. He's only there till September anyway, so...
But whilst many people will be breathing a sigh of relief that Wimbledon is done and dusted for another year, the papers, of course, were still full at the weekend with the fallout from the British hopeful Andy Murray's defeat on Friday at the hands of Andy Roddick. The Guardian reported that as yet Britain has never quite been able to express unconditional love for the Scottish 22-year-old. So how fond did we become of him? Did we fall in love with him? By the way, we should of course say well done to Roger Federer, by the way.
Yeah, but can I just say, this is this whole celebrity thing again. We don't know him very well yet. You know, there are people, we go to Wimbledon, these personalities emerge in their own time and at their own pace. Why do we have to be in love with him straight away, you know?
Because we have to be.
People that actually watch tennis, watch the sport, and what he's done has made a huge improvement in his game. He, you know, from a weedy teenager, he's turned into a really, you know, something beefed up, you know, good-looking. But people don't
I've been watching the wrong end.
People don't need to be in love to support tennis. This is the whole thing about, oh, we don't know anything about tennis. Well, if you love him, you can follow him. You know, give him time.
Yeah, my only thing, I mean, well done to him. He got to the semi-finals and he gave us all a bit of hope. But my only thing with him is, he's just a bit miserable, isn't he? He's just a bit, I mean, I admire his passion and his anger, and he wants to win, and we need somebody like that.
Yeah.
But when you lose with 15,000 people in that centre court watching you, all rooting for you, and they're all let down as well, the least you can do is stay on a bit longer and thank them and wave and wait for your fellow, you know, player to go off with them. He was miserable, and if he was my kid, he'd got a good crack round the legs when he was...
You know what, the thing is, he's very young. He's been sort of in that cloistered sort of sports upbringing, really, since he was, you know, 11, 12 years old. I don't think he has had sort of a normal, you know, upbringing, as it were, and he's a completely focused, amazing athlete. So, all right, he's not very polished in the media, but I think that's a little bit refreshing in some ways. He's not schmoozing us all. He's not
you sticking up for him because he's Scottish?
No, well, no.
Well, she keeps reminding us as
well. No, not at all. And I think he made a mistake when he was younger, sort of, you know, getting the old Scottish English thing going, and I'm sure he regrets that he did that, and he did it when he was younger. But I just think, you know, a bit like Lynda, allow him to mature. Allow him to develop as a human being.
Well, he's never going to mature and develop unless his mother tells him. That he's bad manners.
Say, actually, I told you he wouldn't win, didn't I?
Thank you, the tennis expert.
What did I say?
You really should do the commentary at Wimbledon. It'd be so interesting.
I don't watch it. Anyway, look, you know, I have to keep saying I told you so, because I was going through the papers at the weekend and I found this, right? I'll read the headline. Why self-help mantras leave you unhappier than before. Now, how many times have we had the conversation on this show about self-help books? Now, what do I always say? I think they do more harm than good. I don't think they work. There's no point in just repeating something that you don't actually believe yourself. And this is exactly what this article says. It says...
And you cut that out just to give that to me.
Especially for you. So excited this morning. Jackie is the self-help expert. She's read every single one of them. There is no point. It says basically there's no point in looking at yourself in the mirror, as often they tell you, and telling yourself, trying to tell yourself that you are a wonderful, lovely person. Because if you don't really believe it, it will actually make you feel worse. The only people that works on are the people that believe it in the first place. People like me.
Negativity out, positivity in. Time for one last little break before we welcome Torchwood's John Barrowman, and here's who's coming up tomorrow.